Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I love? Patreon.com/inkdependence, where patrons get access to a patron-only Discord, ad-free videos, and the joy of knowing they help support this channel. Hello, folks. Welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike, and I've got the page already up here because I got this ink from a viewer as a sample, and I can't find that sample anymore. In fact, I think I might have used the whole thing up, and I might have even like reused that little vial because I've had this in a pen for a long time, and that pen is a very thirsty pen, and I think I might have used it up because I really like this one a lot. So let's get rolling. This is Rohrer and Klingner Deep Pine, which was a limited edition back in 2022. I never got a bottle of it because by the time I really knew about it, it was kind of gone. So, you know, that happens sometimes. It is a beautiful color, though. I mean, look at that swatch. It's a deep pine green, as it says on the label. This paper, Nebula Casual Note, this is a 90 grams per square meter paper. The flow on this one, I would say, is very medium. Performance, it does have some bleed and spread issues on copy paper, but also I am using a pretty broad nib, so maybe those could be attenuated if you used a smaller nib. I really don't know. I can't test it now, unfortunately. Quality is really nice, subtle shading, as you can see on here. Sometimes it will look just like very dark, very dark because it's if you don't put it on good paper, it's not going to show the shading. But if you have it on some nice paper, it's a really attractive, super dark green, I think. Comments down here. A viewer sent this sample to me a long time ago, and I've had it in this narwhal for quite a long time. That's this one. This is a narwhal nautilus. This is the tiger one, and it's been really cool in here. I've really been enjoying this dark green ink in this orange pen with a black nib. It's very cool, but as a broad nib, it is just kind of going through this ink, and it is there's not much left even in this pen. Like I can see through the little portholes that I am running out of ink. So this one's almost toast. So once it's gone, it's kind of gone. But that's one of the fun things about inks. It is a super dark green, but still comes across as green, I think. Smooth, uncomplicated, nice to use, keeps getting refilled, and for good reason. I don't know the price because by the time I was looking for it, it was already gone. But these Rohrer and Klingner's are not generally super expensive, so I'd say probably $20 or under for the bottles. They are a very nice glass bottle with a metal lid. They look nice. The chromatography on this is really kind of cool. It doesn't look green at all, does it, right? You got this sort of tan color, and then you have sort of a blue swatch up at the top. I mean, look at that. Interesting how that tan and blue becomes super dark green. Really interesting, I think. So that's pretty cool. Let's get some water on the subject. Then we'll take a look at it on a couple of papers and take a look at some other dark greens because I do have a lot of dark greens. This is a color space that I really enjoy. Let's give that a little shimmy. There we go. Let it shake around. It looks like a lot of it's coming free. We'll see if there's anything left. Paper towel store did not have the paper towels I like the most, and so these are not as absorbent as the other ones I used to enjoy, but what are you gonna do? These are working okay. Yeah, not much left. There is just a little bit, but man, if you look at this is gone. Those words, those are toast. So yeah, no water resistance on this one at all. Keep the deep pines away from the water, and they don't like that. All right, so here it is on my 20-pound, 30% recycled copy paper. And it looks pretty darn nice on here, actually. When I wrote the previous one, I said bleed and spread on copy paper. I can't find that writing sample because I wrote that a while ago, but on here it doesn't look too bad. I mean, it did a little bit of spreading. I mean, you can see some of that. Like with the K, the bottom of the K is thicker than it ought to be because there's no. This is just a round nib, right? So there's no thick and thin action like you get from a stub. So if it looks thicker than it ought to be, like here in the P's and all that sort of thing, it did do a little bit of spreading. The bleeding, a little bit of bleeding, not too much, but some. I think you could probably control that with even a slightly better paper or a slightly smaller nib would probably do that for you. It's not bad on this copy paper. It's not great, but it's not bad. I mean, it doesn't hold up to like Serenity Blue, which basically did nothing on there, right? Or this Papier Plume one up here, which did super well too. But, you get some spots and that sort of thing. Next up, this is Mormon croquis paper, and I really like croquis paper. It's one of my favorites to write on right now. I think it's super nice. The paper is nice and white. It's really, really good with fountain pens, and it just feels nice to write on and makes your inks look cool. And yeah, it made my ink look cool on here, I think. Let's take a close look there. You can see it's lighter on here because it doesn't soak in really much at all. But you do get you get your shading there with your darker bottoms of letters and lighter tops of letters. And this happens because you're drawing I start like the C, I start at the top and go to the bottom, right? So it pulls the ink down to the bottom. It kind of pools a little bit and gives you that beautiful shading. Yeah, really nice. I like that a lot. You want to take a screen cap about mixed signals and traffic lights. This is page 65 out of the 99% Invisible City by Roman Mars and Kurt Kohlstadt, which I got from my sister. It's a fun book, and I've been doing a little bit of transcribing of it very slowly over time. All right, and lastly, because I didn't apparently write it down in my other one, this is my Galen Leather Everyday book. This is old school, original Tomoe River, and there is the Rohrer and Klingner Deep Pine entry. You can see about 2 years ago I started using it in this pen, and it looks great on this paper, and you get way more of the shading there, I think, than you do on some of the others, just because, you know, this is old Tomoe River, and that's what it does, is it gives you access to that shading and sheen and all that sort of thing if you have it. But yeah, it looks really nice on here, and I mean, when this fill runs out, I'll just have to clean this pen out, but I'm not going to dump this ink. It's super nice, and I enjoy it. All right, now for some comparison stuff. Here it is on a Colodex card. You can see that if you put enough down, you're gonna get some sheen. It's like a purpley sort of sheen there, but honestly, I have not seen that in the writing. Even on the Tomoe River, I didn't really see that. This pen is just not putting down enough ink. Now, if you're using a dip pen like I did on here, you can actually see some in the deep up there as well. It gets a little bit of sheen. You can get some sheen out of this ink, but it is not super common. Then here I have Anderillium's Green Kingfisher. Also, apologies to the viewer who sent this to me. This was I did the sample card before I started putting down who I got it from, and I don't have that note anymore. So thank you, even though I don't have your name here to share. Maybe you can claim it down in the comments. That's Anderillium Green Kingfisher, which is one of their bird series. I think that looks pretty nice. It's definitely lighter, I believe, than Deep Pine, but it's in the same area. Then we have a very related sort of ink. This is Narwhal's Explorer series, Dark Forest, which is, I think, this is probably my favorite of the Narwhal series because it was maybe the least dry, as I remember, but very, very similar sort of ink. And look, it's about a dark forest. Here's another foresty ink. This is Monarcha's Mangalar, which is, I want to say mangrove is what that translates to. I got that from my friend Kimberly. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more sagey than the regular Deep Pine there. Then I also pulled Birmingham Pinco's Zucchini from my friend Ruth, and that is fairly close, although I think it's a more yellowy green than you get from Deep Pine, and it never really gets as dark as Deep Pine would. And then lastly, for our piney inks, this is Sailor's Murai, which is kind of like a seaweedy sort of green, not as green, I would say, as this one. It's got a little bit more of like a grayish tone to it. Mirai is a really interesting one. So yeah, there you go. There's several that are kind of close. Of course, this one I think is the closest. But yeah, this is a really nice one. Rohrer and Klingner makes really good inks, and we don't talk about them enough. I need to review some more Rohrer and Klingner's just because they're very good. So thanks very much for watching. If you have tried this ink, let me know what you thought about it down there in the comments. But if you find a bottle of this, I'd say grab it, because it is a really nice, very good dark green ink, and I think you'll probably like it if you're into this color space. So, you know, I'll see you in the next video. Until then, think about what you put on the world, make it a better place, and peace out.